Hey all, welcome back to another template design walkthrough. This new design is called Zealot. It's a pretty fun design here that has a lot of different image panels to really just create an overall sense of scene about specific sport or activity. Of course, you could mix and match sports as well. The fun one on this one is you could also drop in your own images from your own schools or gyms or fields, and you could clip those right on here. They could be action sports images during games, and anything you could think of, you could clip onto these images and just create a full image panel here to really tell a story. So I think this is a fun one for sure. But let's jump over here into the layers, take a look at what's included, so you can see how to customize this and make some changes here pretty easily. All right, so starting at the top, as usual, are our color grading layers. So these are grouped together. There's 4 different color grading layers. This one has a little bit of a difference from some of the others in the sense that there's a decontrasting layer that's happening here, and there's a desaturation, just a little bit of a desaturation happening here, just to give it a certain vibe here. But again, you could always disable these if you wanted full saturation, full contrast. You could change the opacities of these, anything you'd like to do to custom tailor the look of this. That can be done in those little finishing layers right here under the color grading layers. Below that are our facial highlight boosts. So these are meant to brighten the highlights on the subject faces to keep that attention there. We'll look at painting one of those in when we get our subject turned on. Directly below that, we have a group here called effects. So there's a couple layers in here. One is a little bit of a haze type of layer, which again is doing a little bit more decontrasting. Again, just building kind of this vintagey type of look and feel to it in some ways. So that could be turned off if you wanted to get rid of that. There's also some flare happening here just to give it a really cool kind of vibe of that could be sunlight or stadium light or field light or anything like that. It's really just the look of it, I think, super cool. All right, continuing down. We have our subject group. So again, marked in red is always going to be where the subject is placed into the template. So we have a group here. You'll see place subject in this group. You can always refer to layer names to know what the groups and the layers are doing. And it is pre-masked to fit within kind of this center window right here. So we'll look at putting a subject in there in just a minute. Below that, our bottom text. So you're going to take notice, this is some repeating text that's happening not only below this main image, but it's also happening on every image panel that's in here as well. Okay, so it's the same repeating text. Could be a last name, school name, year, whatever information you want to put there. But to change that, it's done via smart object. So you're going to see here we have a main smart object. If you didn't want the name or text on these back panels, that'd be as simple as turning all these additional smart object layers off. But to update it, you're just going to double click on this top one here where it says edit smart object. So double click on this thumbnail. It's going to open up a new document window. Just double click on, and it's normal text at this point. So this could be, let's put a new name in here. All right, so you could add the year, you could add whatever you want, but we'll apply the text. We're going to close this window. When it asks to save, we're going to say yes. And so it's going to update that bottom text here as well as on every one of these image panels. So it'll repeat all the way around. And then attached to this one is just a quick color change for this text that's just below this main image window right here. So you could double click on this and you could make that any color that you wanted that to be. So just a quick little color change option for that text here. Now if you wanted to change the text on all of these, you could do that within the smart object by changing that color in there, and that would change the color on every one of those panels. All right, below that we have our mascot logo. Again, that is also being repeated on every image panel in here. Again, done via smart object. So we have the main one right here in this window, and then all the repeated ones. Again, to edit this, you would just go to the top one here that says edit, double click on the smart object thumbnail, and you would just drop your new logo in here. All right, drop it in, close it, ask to save, yes, and it's going to update every one of those logos on all of those image panels. So very easy to do that as well. Now we get into the image panels. So you can see there's 14 of these panels surrounding the main image here. First thing to note is that with each one of these groups, for each one of these different image panels, there is a desaturation on here, because it does look pretty cool to turn all these on and just desaturate those surrounding images. So that is an option in here, because I think that's a pretty cool look as well. Let's go through and turn these on just to show what that looks like. So that would be with all of those turned, you know, black and white. So just desaturating those, again, is a very cool look there. But we'll go ahead and turn these off for now and set this back here. And a couple more to uncheck right here. There we go. So now within each of these groups, there are some pre-built-in sport options. Okay, so it's going to load up preset to swim, but you can see like for this window right here, there's a wrestling image there. There's one for ice hockey. We got swim. We got volleyball, basketball, softball, baseball, lacrosse, soccer, and football. And some of these are going to be, if we open up this next one, you're going to see some of these can double or triple or quadruple even more up for the same sport. So for this, you know, this panel right here that's being cut off a little bit, this one here is just, you know, an image that can work for football, soccer, lacrosse, baseball, or softball. Or like this one's going to be indoor bleachers for basketball and volleyball. So some of these will serve more than one sport, and then some of these panels are going to have, you know, individual sports in there. So all you got to do is just open these up and see what all's in there. So you can see, for instance, on this top one here, you know, there's more specific graphics for each one. All right, so, you know, just get in and play with those, and you can see what options are there. Again, the cool thing is if you wanted to drop your own images in, all you have to do is drag them right in, you know, either in line so they automatically clip to this panel box, or if they're at the top, then you would just hold Alt or Option, you know, click between these layers, and you can clip and unclip these very easily. All right, so all the different panel groups are in here. That's going to have all the images for all these surrounding ones. I am planning to add some new sports to this as well, but so that we can get this design out and into people's hands, we're going to go ahead and release it with what's there, and then we'll do, you know, an update with an email blast once some other sports are ready. All right, so below these surrounding panels, now we're going to get into our main center panel for the subject. So there's two pre-built-in backgrounds for that. One's this indoor rafter type of look that can work for things like hockey or swim or volleyball or basketball, things like that. And then we have this outdoor sky one that can work for all your other outdoor sports very easily. Below that, we have this background color. This is going to control the color that's in behind this boxes. You can see if you zoom in, there is some texture happening back here. So this color is going to leave that texture intact as well, but it's just going to colorize things. So it's just a simple color picker. You could sample a jersey color, sample any other color from the image, you know, to pick whatever you want there to set that color, or you can manually come over here and move things around and pick that as well. Or you could just turn it off and leave it gray, which I think also looks super cool. All right, below that, so we have this border, this main subject frame. So that's this kind of faded framing that's happening in behind this main subject box right here. And then there's some texture getting applied here in the way of this main frame border noise layer. So you can see it's clipped to this frame that's happening behind there. And then behind that is just our background texture layer. All right, so there's all of the layers in this. Let's turn our subject on, and let's just go ahead and customize this one up. So let's expand this group. I've got a subject dropped in. So you can see it is pre-masked so that the legs are going to get cut off at the bottom of this image frame, so you can just move your subject around, you know, and place them, you know, anywhere that you like. I really like the off-center type of look on this one, where the head and the arms and things overlap this frame. I'm just trying to watch the leg that I don't you know, cut off out there, right? So just within that box like that, I think looks super cool. All right, so wrestling, since that's, you know, typically an indoor sport, I'm going to come down, I'm going to turn on my indoor background layer. And then I'm going to go through all of my panels here, and I'm going to set those to wrestling. So let's do that one. Let's go to the next one, turn that one on. Next one, turn that one on. And so just a process of going up and either adding images in or just turning on the ones that exist in here. There's that one, that one. Now the good thing too is if you're going to be repeating sports, you could always turn all these on, say for wrestling, and then you could actually just save this file off and just add wrestling to the end of the file name. And then if you ever come back for a new wrestling team, you could just load up this design that's appended wrestling, and it's already going to be preset with your wrestling images. So if you're, you know, reusing for the same sport over and over, that's an easy way to save that off and load it up without having to pick everything, you know, every time from all of those folders. Now on the wrestling one, I think it's going to look pretty cool if we desaturate all of the images on this. Let's turn all of these desaturations on. And there we go. Yeah, so I think that looks really cool. Just desaturate those outer ones. And then I'm going to add some background color in here. I'm going to come over and sample, you know, part of this red off of his jersey color to match that up. Maybe pull this over to saturate it just a bit more. Click OK. All right, I like that. And then for his name, let's just change that color, either to white or black, probably. So let's see, black. Black looks pretty cool. White looks cool too. I think I'm going to leave it black. I think I like that with the look of all this going on here. All right, so click apply on that. There we go. And then the last thing I really need to do is just come up here to the facial highlight boost, grab a white brush. I'm going to make sure the mask itself is selected. And I'm just going to come in and just paint over the subject's face here. And then if it's a little bit bright, I'm just going to drop that opacity down just a little bit. That looks pretty good. There we go. So just giving us a little bit of boost and brightness. And if you think it's a little warm or needs to be more warm, you can just open this color up and you could, you know, desaturate that or add a little bit more warmth in. Whatever's needed. There you go. Click OK. And there's our brightening on the face, and there's our subject in. And just to show you on the color grading layers, here's if we turn that decontrast off, you're going to see it's going to get much more punchy. Or if we turn that, or sorry, that was decontrast or desaturation down here, it's going to add a little bit more color back into it. So it really just depends on the look and the vibe that you like. I like it a little desaturated, a little decontrasted. I just think it has a really cool vibe to it. So there we go. There's how you can easily go in and use the preset images in here, change your text, change your logos, things like that that's needed. So yeah, I hope you get a lot of use out of this one. It's really fun. I really love the look of this one. And so if you go using it, I would love to see what you're making. Feel free to send it over, tag me in it, post it in our JHP Backgrounds group, and I will see you on the next video.